Hi, folks, and welcome back to another episode of our podcast, When I Became a Gator. I'm your host, Phillip Cheng, and our podcast focuses on the stories of various alumni around the country in the hopes of bringing closer the Gator Nation, one alumni at a time. Tonight, we have a special guest, and her name is Naomi Abraham. Naomi, welcome to the show. It's so great to have you.
Hi, Phillip. Thank you so much for inviting me. It's so exciting to talk to you.
Absolutely. It's been such a long time since we've last connected, and I'm excited to learn more about what you did after college and allow our listeners to get to know you as well. Could you tell us a little bit about where you're from, what you studied at UF, and a little about what you did after you graduated?
Sure. So I went to University of Florida from 2009 to 2013. So I cannot believe it's been 7 years since I've graduated. But I'm from West Palm Beach, Florida. And when I was at UF, I majored in political science and minored in education. And then right afterwards, I went to law school at American University in Washington, D.C. So to add to that, or to expand on my college experience, while I was at UF, I was very involved with both ASU and ISA. And, my experience with ASU was under your leadership. So that was very exciting. And then my participation or involvement in ISA was very much modeled after ASU.
Yeah. I remember the conversations that we used to have about ASU, Asian American Student Union, ISA, the Indian Students Association. You are also part of Asian Kaleidoscope Month, the month-long celebration of Asian and Asian American culture at UF. And also, I believe you were director of the newly founded at that time, the Freshman Leadership Experience under ISA, right?
Yes, I was. So at the time, ASU had their freshman leadership program, which was a huge mentorship program for all the incoming freshmen. And that was such a great resource for the community because not only are they mentors for your professional or educational aspirations, but they can be your first friends.
Yeah.
And Indian Student Association, ISA at the time, did not have a similar program, even though it still felt like a very close-knit community because of the dance teams and other social events. But I think that the addition of a mentorship program really solidified the type of community we could be in terms of a resource for incoming freshmen. So with a lot of help from you and other people within ASU, I did create the Freshman Leadership Experience, otherwise known as FLEET, and it was completely overwhelming, the response to that. And we can definitely talk about that later.
Yeah.
During our interview, but it was an amazing time to see that much participation and all these students just wanting to help incoming freshmen.
Absolutely. I think that UF as a whole, especially in the Asian American community, really takes the idea of welcoming the freshmen and sort of giving them this amazing experience very seriously. And I'm really happy to have worked on that and to have worked with you on doing that for the Indian Students Association back when we were a little younger. So, we're curious, during your 4 years at UF, what was a moment or maybe even experience or time period where you felt super connected to the university, where you felt really proud to be a Florida Gator?
Okay, so I would have to expand on my time with the freshman leadership experience. And that would be, so I had just met you and we had worked together and I felt very connected because of how often we spoke and how much you helped me. And there are many people within ASU who did that for me and the ISA community. So that was wonderful to experience. And I remember when I first went to someone in ISA saying, I have this idea, it works for ASU, we can easily model something similar under ISA. The response I got was something along the lines of, no, that's a great idea, but no one cares. No one is going to participate. no one is going to be interested in this. But I thought, well, I'm going to do it anyways.
Mm-hmm.
Let's just try it and see if it works. The response was overwhelming. The
Wow.
majority of ISA members applied to be mentors. And this was so official. I really modeled everything after FLP with,
Yeah.
an official Google Doc. I still remember that's how I'm familiar with Google Docs, just
Yeah.
going through this whole process. And again, seeing that, it just highlighting that I always felt like there was a strong South Asian community at
Mhm.
UF. And people feel that when they come in because of all the social events,
Yeah.
when you join a dance team. But then you realize that this community is just more than, every weekend hanging out. It's also a resource for you as you grow, as you go through your major at the University of Florida. These are all people who were willing to give their time just so that you don't have to go through the same issues. Whatever problem you're experiencing as a freshman, guaranteed someone else has gone through it, and you can just ask someone for help. And that's something that I've done throughout my entire life, even now as a lawyer.
Yeah.
Every time I have a problem, there's no need for me to deal with it by myself, right?
Right. Right.
Ask someone. And so I think FLE Flea
Mhm.
really gave everyone a resource on how to handle difficult situations or how to just get through your classes and things like that. So that was amazing just to see the response, and it worked. And it's still standing strong today. I follow them on Instagram, and
That's wonderful.
watching how things have developed, that it's still going strong now 8 years later.
Right. Right.
uh, that makes me so happy. That gives me so much joy that it was a continuous process, and
Yeah.
there are, classes and classes of people who are willing to help freshmen just navigate their lives at this stage.
Yeah, absolutely. It's so great to hear that FLE is still going, and I also know that FLP is still going there. I believe they're on class 15, and so pretty soon at our next alumni reunion will be FLP class 20 and 30, and here we are. Oh, we're FLP class 1. So
Yeah.
we'll truly show our age by then. But you mentioned just like the experience of receiving guidance as a freshman, or giving guidance as an upperclassman, sort of traveled with you as a lawyer and law school as well. I'm wondering, what other things did you take from your experience at UF in with ASU, with ISA, with FLE? What things did you take with you when you went to law school, and then and also now being a lawyer?
Sure. So I would say one thing is to be proud of being Asian American or Indian American wherever you are. No matter what, it will always influence who you are in your career professionally, in your relationship personally, things like that. And so now I'm a lawyer at a large law firm, and even though the majority of my days are pretty busy with actual legal work, my diversity roles at the firm have really given me kind of a voice in terms
Mhm.
of in terms of incoming lawyers.
Yeah.
And so I would say that when you're in college and you're wondering whether to coordinate an event or just to participate in any event or whatever initiative it may be,
Mhm.
to just go for it, because you'll never know how that experience will give you the fodder or the resources you need in your professional life. So I think it taught me how to be professional from an early age, because you need the credibility with whatever you're doing in college, and that
Mhm.
reputation follows you. And I think to always network, because by being involved you met a ton of people, and that has benefited me throughout my entire professional career so far, living in different cities. Even people at my law firm, there are so many Gators at my law firm.
Oh, wow.
So just to connect with them and say, what were you involved with, and where did you study, Club West, or where were you? So the networking definitely follows you.
Yeah. Yeah, Club West was a term that another former alumni mentioned as well, and so definitely Club West is here today.
Nice.
What are some of your hopes for the future? You know, UF is striving to be in the top five. We're number six this year in the U.S. News public rankings for the public institutions. But what are some of your hopes for UF moving forward? We are in a time of COVID, but maybe even further when we hopefully get past COVID.
Right. I think what you're doing is a really good example of alumni support and resources. And I think that, looking back at our time in college, how lost we were sometimes, how we just didn't know what to do. Um, just creating a really strong alumni network would help students now, and as long as they take it seriously, I think that would be really beneficial, because I'm looking at my class now, and 7 years out, and it's amazing what some of my peers are up to. Of course, you might be familiar with this. A handful of people are doctors and they're in the
Mhm.
healthcare profession, and then some of us are lawyers. And just seeing that, maybe if there was anything that could have made our journey easier to get here,
Mhm.
we would have taken advantage of that. So just thinking about a strong alumni network, that would be awesome to see. And I'm sure you're going to be a big part of that, expanding from your current podcast. So yeah, I think that's my main, that would be my main goal
Yeah.
for continual success.
Oh, thank you so much for sharing. As we end our episode tonight, do you have any shout outs that you would like to give to people, persons, places on campus that were influential to your time at UF?
Yes, I think that everyone should apply for Gatorship.
Mhm.
I think another shout out is student government. Represent, become part of your college's representation as part of the Senate, or however they do it now.
Yeah.
Um, and then, I mean, shout out to one of my best friends. She's now married to her co-mentor of someone we matched up in FLE.
Wow.
So shout out to her.
That's
Uh,
another podcast that we have to make.
yes, it is. That so that's pretty much it. But I know that everyone watching this, all the current students, just take advantage of being at UF, because you'll definitely reap benefits from it afterwards. The Gator Nation is really everywhere.
Truly, especially when you see a gator on a in an airport, on a plane, just muster up that spirit and say go Gators, because I
Yeah.
think it's really exhilarating to to do that.
Yes, it happens in DC. Every time I wear something Gator, it will happen a ton of times throughout the day.
Oh yeah, for sure. Thank you so much, Naomi, for being on our episode tonight. For our listeners, if you'd like to be on our show, please email us at ufasianalumni@gmail.com or reach out to us on social media. Thank you. Have a great night and go Gators.
Thank you, Phillip.